Come on over
Y'all
here,
do
Kathy.
the do. Y'all my people.
Yes. Hi, my name's Kathy. I'm an alcoholic. My name's Jessica. I'm an addict.
And I'm Haley.
We are Recovered Two Friends, One Path, and we are here today with Miss Haley, and we'll let you know more about what she's doing. First, we got to do our normal.
Yes, this is our normal. This is solely our opinion. We're not affiliated with any group or program. Our sole purpose is to help others fight addiction and or alcoholism, and to offer help and knowledge of how we stay sober. This is 100% real and raw. We do cuss, we do tell war stories, we do cry, we do laugh, but we do recover. We're going to have some helplines for you later. This is really, I'm just going to go back to a few weeks ago. I heard her story touch me, and God's worked in some ways that has really been shining a lot, and I am beyond honored to have her here. Her name's Haley. She's going to be talking about an event that is really near and dear to my heart as an alcoholic. So, you're alcoholic, addict, someone dealing with any kind of addiction, or has a loved one that you need to find help for, this is going to be a good resource for you to listen to today. Alright, and with that,
Well, thank you, ladies. Thank you for that, Kathy. I really appreciate it. So my name is Haley Sherlock, and I am the founder and executive director of Heart & Newton. We are an addiction recovery support center here in Covington, Georgia. But most importantly, I am a woman in long-term recovery. And what that means to me is that it's been a little over 6 years since I had to escape my reality using any mood or mind-altering substances. So today, because of my recovery, I get to be a present mother for my 18-year-old son who's getting ready to graduate from Newton High School in May. I'm really proud of that. He is my pride and joy and the biggest pain in my side, if you know what I mean. I'm married to the love of my life, Michael. He is also in recovery, and he is coming up on 5 years this fall. And you know, together we get to live a meaningful life. We are homeowners today in Newton County. We pay taxes. We use our voices to vote. And my mom, she doesn't have to go to bed at night wondering where her child is. She wakes up every morning and gets to call me, and we get to have conversations about life. And I get to be the daughter that she's always deserved, and she gets to be the mom that I've always deserved. And so recovery has grounded me in ways that I just never thought were possible. And I speak out about recovery because I remember a time where shame and stigma drowned out my own voice, you know? But that is not the case today. It is because of my lived experience that I now get to bring value to my community. And with that value, I'm able to help educate, advocate, and support those who are in recovery, those who are seeking recovery, and even those who are on the fence and not sure which direction they want to turn in yet. And so as the founder of Heart & Newton, you know, I'll tell you a little backstory about myself. I'm not from here. I was born and raised in Augusta, Georgia. I moved to Athens in 2018 to go to rehab. I ended up meeting who is now my husband, and we did what everybody said not to do. We fell in love and, you know, got an apartment and all that good stuff. And we ended up getting really good jobs that brought us out this way. And I was working at the Georgia Council for Recovery. But I was here in this community now. I bought a home here in Newton County. And I was praying, asking God, why did you bring me here? This town is nothing what I'm used to. It's nothing what I grew up in. It's nothing like where I came from in Athens. But I knew that I was there for a purpose. And it wasn't just because I fell in love with our cute little country cottage. You know, I knew it was much more than that. And over time, it was clearly because our community, it needed some things that I could possibly offer it. Not just myself though, because I can't do this alone, but it needed my voice. And so I quit my big, great, cool job at Georgia Council for Recovery, which I still love, by the way, best job ever.
Oh, I bet.
And I took a local position here so that I could focus more on our community right here in Newton County. So Heart of Newton was founded in June of 2025, so we're approaching our 1-year birthday. Our mission is to ensure that hope exists and recovery thrives through connection, multiple pathways, education, and advocacy. And so HEART is actually an acronym, right? And it stands for Hope Exists and Recovery Thrives, which is our name, Heart of Newton. So we envision a community where recovery flows freely and every person has the chance to heal and thrive. People often ask me, why did I choose the heart? And was it because I like heart jewelry, or because I'm a girly girl that's always drawing, doodling little hearts? And it was much deeper than that. You know, I didn't really choose it. Again, God deposited it into me one day. I was taking a CEU class on heart disease, and I was having to learn about how the heart works in the body. And so the Heart of Newton was actually chosen with purpose, because from what I learned was that the heart in the body pumps life-giving blood to every organ, and recovery and connection pump hope, healing, and strength into the lives of individuals, families, and communities. So when the heart is healthy, the whole body thrives. And when recovery is nurtured and supported, people and communities thrive. And that's what I wanted this organization to be. I want this organization to be a place where people walk into and they're filled up with life, and they're able to go back out into the community and breathe life into other people. I've learned over time that recovery can't exist in isolation. And these two ladies right here are proof of that. Recovery needs connection, encouragement, and community, just like the heart needs the veins and the arteries to keep life flowing. So we exist today to be that vital connection point. We don't have an actual location yet. We just got our 501c3 nonprofit from the IRS about 3 weeks ago. So we're gearing up to start applying for funding, and we have a goal that hopefully by January of 2027, we are in a brick and mortar that actually we can have our community members come to and sit with us and visit and get the support they need. Do you know what an RCO is?
I do.
Yeah? You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Now, I can't remember what the acronym is. Tell me what the acronym is.
Recovery Community Organization.
There we go. Yeah, so an RCO is a place that people can go that have any kind of mental health or alcoholism or addiction, and just get services for peers from people like them. You know, that's the biggest thing that is great about RCOs, is that it's not a clinical setting.
Right.
That it's a setting where people can go, that they can get help from people that have lived experience.
That is exactly right,
Yes.
Jessica. Yes. So an RCO, or Recovery Community Organization, is an independent nonprofit organization that's led and governed by representatives of the local communities of recovery. So we have a board. Our board is made up of people who are also in recovery. There are some people we hope to get on that may not be. It is not a requirement. We are actively seeking board members though, so if you're interested and have board experience, we'd love to chat. But these organizations organize recovery-focused policy for advocacy activities. We carry out community education events and outreach programs, and we provide peer-based recovery support services to individuals and families in the community. So I myself am a certified addiction recovery empowerment specialist, or CARES. I'm also a certified peer specialist in addictive disease. I'm a certified peer specialist in mental health, and I'm a forensic peer mentor. And all that means is that I have the lived experience with somebody with substance misuse, mental health challenges, and I am a returning citizen, right? And so I get to walk alongside other people who are in those same areas of life and help them figure out what's going to work for them. So, of course, our core purposes are public education, advocacy, peer-based services, and inclusion. So we're not a one-stop shop, right? Well, we kind of are, but we're not a one-size-fits-all for people. So while my recovery pathway may have looked a certain way, it doesn't mean that I think that Jessica's pathway has to look the same as mine. And actually, mine and Jessica's, from what I know about her, they look pretty similar, but I can guarantee you they're not the same. And that's because we're not the same. And so we want to figure out what it is that you're struggling with and how we can support you in what you're interested in doing, and then connect you to those resources. So yeah. Some cool things that we have coming up in the community is, like, right now we're in the process of planning our recovery symposium. So a recovery symposium is going to be a free event for the community that is going to do exactly what our core purposes are, which is educate the community. We're going to have some lived experience, a panel discussion. We're going to feed you. This is going to be on June the 13th, Saturday, June the 13th at Georgia Piedmont Technical College, right here at the Covington campus. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Be on the lookout for our flyer. But in the meantime, this planning process can't just be done by myself. I need the community. The RCO needs the community. We want this party to be a community party for and by the community. So come out and help us figure out how to plan this thing. We're having planning sessions right now every 2 weeks. Our next planning meeting is tomorrow night at 6 p.m. at New Rock, right over at the Viewpoint Health SUD campus on Kirkland Road. If you go to our Facebook page, I'm sure you'll find some information out there. And to help support our recovery symposium, we currently have a raffle going on right now. So grilling season is here, right? And we know everybody loves to grill, and now they got all these fancy grills going on. So right now we're raffling off a RecTech Backyard Beast 1200. And so this has a retail value of $1,200. I think I'm saying that right.
How much are the tickets?
The tickets are 1 for $20, 3 for $50, or 8 for $100. And if you want to support in a greater way and make a donation, we are 501c3, so tax deductible receipts are eligible. To send me a message and I'll get one sent over to you via email. So help us continue creating hope and connection and recovery support in Newton County. The winner for this RecTech Backyard Beast will be announced on Friday, May the 8th, unless we reach our goal sooner.
Ooh.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I know I'm buying some tickets.
Oh, hey.
Me too.
It's not for the grill though.
Girl, you got a lot going on.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot some days. But again, I'm not doing this alone, thankfully. You know, we have a community. Each of our planning meetings up until now have consisted between our first one, there was over 35 people that showed up to start planning the recovery symposium.
Right now. That's awesome.
Yeah. And of course, people are also busy, so not all 35 people have continued to show up, but it's been between 15 to 25 that have continued to show up since we started the planning process in February.
Well, I have a question. So this won't air until after this one. So
Okay.
when is the next one?
Our next planning meeting is going to be on April the 30th. Yeah. April the 30th at 6 p.m. and it's actually going to be at Damascus Road Recovery right off 278.
Okay.
I challenge everybody to show up to that. If you're in Newton County and you want to be part of the community and help out, come on down. Y'all have a say in this. Let's throw a party that you guys want.
Yep, we're going to be talking about they're planning things from the food we want to have catered, resource tables at the event, who speakers are, because let's face it, I can't do it all on my own, and I don't want to. I love watching other people take control. I think my favorite part about this has been being involved in some of the sober living houses in the area have been showing up to the planning meetings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And watching a woman with 120 days in recovery take a task on and say, I'm going to handle that part, right? Take responsibility, go out there, do the dang thing, and then come back with gift cards for the door prizes, because we will have door prizes at the raffle. So
That's awesome.
Coming back with 3 gift cards to Mamie's at that, you know what I mean? And to see the excitement, you know, just how that little task empowered somebody and allowed them to be a part of something bigger than themselves. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what recovery is about.
It is.
You know, it really is. And that's wonderful that you're able to do this and get these people together, get the community together, and you're going to reach that goal. I know you will. You're going to reach that goal and beyond. Because what you're doing is amazing, and it's going to bless so many people. There's not going to be an end to it.
Yeah.
Once you get that brick and mortar in there, you're going to be able to help people. You're going to be able to give people jobs. You're going to be able to save people's lives daily, and it is something that's going to carry on. It's never going to stop.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's what it is about. I know for me, when I picked up my last white key tag, right, in January of 2020, I had been labeled a bunch of things like a relapse wonder, the 90-day wonder, all these things, because I kept having setbacks, you know. And it meant so much to me. I had a friend, I'm going to shout her out, Laura McCoy, who was working at a local RCO down the road from where I lived at. And she used to come and pick me up every day those first few weeks of my recovery and bring me back to the RCO with her. I had no idea what an RCO was. I had no idea what peer support was. All I knew is that I wanted to use, but I know I didn't want to use anymore. And I needed somebody to help keep me busy. And she just brought me up there. And some days I'd wipe counters, some days I'd vacuum, some days I'd just follow her around like a little lost puppy dog, because let's face it, back then, that's what I was. I was a little lost, and I needed somebody to show me my way. And you know, she looked at me one day and said, Haley, you're gonna do this. One day you're gonna be the person sitting across the table holding their hand while they figure out what next step they need to take. And I did not believe her. I did not believe her at all. And so that's what I want to be. That's what I want to be for other people. That's what I want the Heart of Newton to be. I want it to be filled with community members who are in recovery that can take another brother or sister by the hand and say, come on, we got this. Let me show you how it's done. With no judgment, full of compassion, and supporting you and finding your pathway to recovery.
It's wonderful. The cool thing about being a peer again is that we know, we've been there.
Yeah.
There is none of that tough love. There is none of that hard stuff that you find, you know, when you go to a clinical setting. It has its place too.
Yeah, it does.
But, you know, when you go knowing that you're going to talk to somebody who's actually been there, it changes things. It makes a difference.
It truly does. I know for me, when that peer support specialist looked at me and said, well, Haley, what do you want to do? I think it was the first time in my entire life that somebody actually wanted to involve me in my treatment. You know, before that I had doctors and lawyers and my parents and judges and probation officers and house managers and you name it. The list could go on and on. Pastors, you name it. Sponsors, you know, and they were telling me this is what you need to do. But it wasn't until somebody asked me that simple question, well, what do you think you should do? And out of my mouth it just came, I think I should try medicated assisted treatment. You know, and that being able to make that choice for myself and say, okay, I'm going to help you do that, and be connected to a local provider the very next day on a scholarship, so I never even had to pay for my medications. You know, they made that happen for me, and it was like, oh my gosh, I just believed in myself, and it really restored my faith in humanity too, because for so long I thought people just wanted to be in control of me. And I'm a free spirit, so I don't like anybody to think that they can control me, but it really just empowered me to take charge. And when I made that decision on my own, if it failed me, I had nobody else to blame. So I couldn't be stuck in that victim mentality anymore.
That's
either.
right. I love
You know?
that. That's right. Well, people don't understand that the peer, we have a thing that cares, it's the peer-led recovery.
Yeah.
We allow the person to make the decisions. We help them along the way, but they make the choices about what to do with their recovery. There's not anybody sitting there telling them, you've got to do this, you got to go this way or lose your kids, you got to go that way. There, you know, you sit down and say, well, you know, there's a way we talk to people, and there's a way we lead an answer out of them, and then boom, we come to an agreement based on what they want, not what somebody's telling them.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about being able to work with a peer.
Yeah. You know, we held a listening session in August of last year for the community. And just to be clear, Heart of Newton, we don't want to come in here and duplicate any services that are already being done in our community, because there's a lot already going on for recovery here in Newton County. And we basically want to be a bridge, right? We want to fill in the gap. So we held a listening session in August, and we were able to hear from the community about what's working, what could be better, and what are our hopes for and which direction we're heading. And so some of the things that stuck out the biggest barrier that most people face today in recovery in our community is transportation, right? So people get into resource court or into accountability court, period, and they don't have transportation to and from their groups that they're mandated to be at. And if they don't show up for that, they go back to jail.
They're sanctioned, yeah.
So that's going to be one of Heart of Newton's top priorities, is getting a transportation schedule going for the community. So we can be able to provide that, we'll be able to eliminate that barrier of transportation and help them get to and from their court, to and from probation, to and from therapy appointments, to and from work, as long as it's within, a certain, in our area here in Newton County. We want to help eliminate that barrier. And then the other thing is just having a place that belongs to the community. So the way I envision Heart of Newton is, it's going to be an office space, right? But I want it to be a place where people can just drop in and hang out and grab a cup of coffee and sit down on the couch and flip through the TV, and or if they need help filling out a resume, that they can come in and have a peer support specialist to assist them with building their very first resume after returning home from prison for 15 years, So we want to be that place that is a drop-in center where people can come and get what they need to go back out into our community, and be able to, I know for me, it's also something that's close to my heart, is being integrated into our local county jail. So we also want to assist our people who are incarcerated at Newton County with providing them direct access to the peer support specialist by helping them fill out treatment applications when they're awaiting court. So that way, by the time they make it to court, they'll already have their acceptance letters. Heart of Newton we hope and pray that we will receive funding to pay people's entry fees. It is a prayer for mine. So if you believe in the work we're doing, please be in prayer for me in that we get funding to pay people's entry fees, because that's another barrier.
Kathy knows all about that. She goes to the jail and works with those girls and those ladies.
Yeah, so we want to be able to eliminate all barriers. We hope we can. We know we can't do them all, but we want to eliminate as many as possible for those in our community seeking recovery. So being able to, and educating the families as well, or the loved ones. That's a big part, because a lot of times families just don't understand what they haven't been through. And so being able to provide them with education and help them understand from a different perspective what is actually going on with their loved one, and connect them to resources too, so that they can begin healing. Because I believe that when a person starts recovering, the family can recover too.
Oh yeah, it is a family disease.
Yeah.
And that's why they say that, because you make your family sick as well. So that's great, but you're going to be an all around type thing. You said one stop shop, not necessarily that, but
yeah,
but you can go.
That's the hope. We want to be able to get you where you need to go.
That right there, that is a huge, I would have never, I would have thought of something else, but transportation, something that a lot of us just take for granted.
Yeah.
If you think about it, that's something that I guess I've never really thought about until now. And that would be a big thing, because I do agree with that. I hear a lot of people say, well, I couldn't get to a meeting, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. And that would be fantabulous.
Yeah. And we hope to act as that, we want outside groups also to be able to utilize our space. So if there's new groups forming in the community and they need a space to meet, we want the RCO to be able to be that space, to be open to the community, and then we would be able to coordinate transportation for people who that is a barrier to get to and from the location, for sure.
You mentioned mat medicine too.
Yeah.
Mat medicine, there's a lot of stigma around that.
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
And I'm a person who's taken mat medicine, and for me it worked. It did a great job. You said you built a gap between them and there.
Yeah.
Now, when you said transportation, I see a lot of people struggle getting there.
Yes, it is.
That's a huge struggle. I see people sitting out with their babies, waiting on somebody to pick them up, or I've been asked to give people rides home and things like that. And so doing something like that's going to
being able to, so that is something we definitely want to do. So I know for me, I went the opioid treatment provider that I went to in Athens. I was lucky enough, my partner, my husband now, he had a vehicle. So before I got my first car in recovery, I was able to get his vehicle or secure a ride from somebody in my network. But out here, and I know we're in the metro Atlanta area, but it's pretty rural in certain parts of Covington, and getting to the local or the closest opioid treatment provider sometimes is a hassle. And so, when I finally did get my first car though, the opioid treatment provider I went to, as long as I was following my treatment plan and doing what was expected of me, they were able to give me like Uber gift cards to help me pay for gas to get back to the
that's
clinic
a
the next
blessing.
week. You know what I mean? I was working, I was doing all the stuff, I was still struggling, low income mother with a son, and so you know, we want to be able to do those same kind of things, whether it's getting you a ride there or connecting you to a transportation resource. You know, if it's going to be an everyday thing, like maybe we can get you signed up with insurance that is going to help could cover your transportation there. So that's something else we can do. Or if it's just us continuing to take you, is what we will do until you get to a place where you're able to take yourself.
Or just having a network of any friends like us,
That's
and
it.
just say, hey, this person lives here and wants to go here.
That's
Can you-"
right.
You know, I mean, it's great to know people, and you never know when someone, they're struggling. Sometimes they just need that push, that they need a sign to hit a meeting or to do something else. And a lot of times I'm like, I'm not going to do that today. And then somebody will call and, hey, can you give me a ride? Yep.
There you go.
Get you there every time.
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yep.
That service work will save you
It
every
does.
time, doesn't
It
it?
really does. Yeah.
I can't say no. I'm like, yep, sure will.
I have to be honest. I believe that service work is what kept me sober the most. Out of everything was being able to help others, and you know, it really does. You know, it shines through in you too. You know, people that want, like what Kathy and I are doing. Kathy's a big service work person too, so I really believe that helped keep me sober was, you know, sponsoring others. You know, I really know that there was a few times that if I didn't have people that depended on me to stay sober, that I probably wouldn't.
Yeah. You know, there's nothing more that brings me joy except snuggling with my dogs. Is sitting with somebody and watching the light come back in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they've
That
been
is
stripped
an
down
awesome
of all their
feeling.
dignity, of all their self-respect, of all their self-love, and just being there with them and saying, I'm here for you. Let me help you. Let me show you. Let me do this with you. And little by little, just seeing that light come back in their eyes until one day they're no longer walking with you. They're running, and they're running to the next person to help them, to help another person. And,
It's contagious.
and that's what it's about to me. It's just one person reaching another. You know, iron sharpens iron. It's something that I've always heard of for most of my life, and that's exactly what I believe today is still true.
I love it. I love it.
Well, we had Still on Still the last day of my rehab, the last Saturday before we left once a month, and it was just exactly what you said.
Yeah.
I mean, and the way it was explained, exact nature, and it didn't even hit me until now. It's like, yeah, that's what it, you know, the correlation between the two. I was like, okay, that's what that means. So that's, whew.
It is, and you know, a mentor of mine, George Brott, he's actually co-founder of the CARES Academy.
Yes.
He had this idea, and I don't know where he got it from, but to me it was his idea, but I'm sure he got it from somewhere. But he believed that the same way that whales communicate across the vast oceans is the same way people who are in recovery or struggling with substance misuse can communicate with one another. And so I think about that, you know, if there's nobody else more equipped to help another person than you, or yourself, or me, or the next person who's in recovery. We have the lived experience. We have found a way out. We know what our resources are here in our community, and we have the willingness and the heart to connect them to it. And that's why we're here to do this work.
You're exactly right. You know, just that part about going through it yourself. You know, I've seen a lot of times when, you know, all these professionals write these books about how to raise your children but don't have any kids. And I'm like, how do you even know? Like, I will never pick up a book that somebody writes something that have no experience whatsoever with it. And it does. It makes plenty of sense that someone who has been there can help you probably a little better than someone who hasn't.
And not to say that people who haven't been there can't be helpful, because I have tons of people who do this work too that don't have lived experience, and they make amazing allies, right?
Right.
They are amazing recovery allies. And honestly, we can't do this without those allies.
Correct.
It takes a little bit of all of us to be able to do this. And so if you're out there listening today, and you you find yourself as a recovery ally, please get in touch with us on Heart of Newton. We would love for you to come out and support us and get connected and help us continue to carry the torch.
God, that's deep. I mean, it takes the whole community. You don't have to be an addict or whatever to help with this. This is incredible. I mean, let's face it, Newton County has already got issues with homeless shelters, stuff like that. A lot of people, I'm not just gonna say Newton County, but in my experience, Newton County, you say, hey, I'm less than whatever their standard is, and you're looked down upon, you know, and it's been like that for a hot minute. I mean, let's just face it, it's Newton County. But the ones that are sitting there like this needs to understand this is not just the, oh, I live under a bridge type of disease. I mean, it can get a hold of anyone, anytime. It can happen to anyone.
That's right.
And to say it would never happen to blah blah blah, if you use that, it can.
Yeah.
I'm sure my mom didn't sit there and say, Lord, please let me have one child as an alcoholic. No.
And I know, I tell people all the time, I tell my son this morning, I tell anybody, I tell him all the time, look, dude, I did not wake up at the age of 13 and be like, it's a great day to become an addict.
I know.
You know, like that is
too.
not what I did. You know, it was slow and progressive. I went through some things. And the substances, well, first it was boys. They made me feel better about myself. And the boys introduced me to some other things. And that made me really feel good about myself for a short period of time until it didn't anymore. You know, nobody just wakes up and chooses to be this way. Nobody wakes up one day and says, you know what, I'm going to go be homeless for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the things that I'm most proud of was this past season, actually. Repairs of the Breach opened up a warming center.
Yes.
And Heart of Newton was able to be very involved in volunteering throughout the winter season at the Repairs of the Breach warming center. We were there. We volunteered for weeks at a time. So just in case y'all didn't know, each week brought in a different organization to volunteer for the week. So from Monday to Sunday, it would be a certain group of volunteers. I believe most of them were churches that were volunteering, and then Heart of Newton was there too. So we just rotated weeks. But every Monday night, no matter what church was there, Heart of Newton went out to provide a Narcan training to the volunteers, just in case something happened while the warming center was open. The volunteers there would be equipped to respond to an opioid overdose if it happened. I'm happy to say that never happened while we were there. But now, though, I'd like to say there is at least 50 to 70 more people in our community who has been trained on how to use Narcan in case of an overdose. And then while we were there volunteering, we were able to build relationships with the people who were utilizing the warming center. And we were able to get 8 of our friends who are currently unhoused connected to treatment over the winter season.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great.
And because of the community, some of them even got to go into treatment with their fee paid. So they didn't have to worry about having to pay a fee because community members believed in them and wanted to see them be successful, and they paid for their treatment costs.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Each of these people, you know, people like she said, they look at it like a certain way, but each of these people are somebody's child.
Yes.
You know, somebody's sister, somebody's brother, and somebody's mother, and, you know, it could be yours. So, you know, always think about it like that. And we're not bad people trying to get good. We're sick people trying to get well.
Yeah.
And you're providing something amazing for this community to be able to have that happen.
Yeah. So, well, like I said, I don't want to take all the credit. I give all the glory to God.
Amen.
And I could not do it without my amazing board, and my network, you know, because when I'm feeling like I can't do it and I'm terrified, I have people saying, what can I help you do to take some off your plate so you're less scared and you're less anxious? You know
That's
what I mean?
wonderful.
And so Heart of Newton, yes, I did found it. Yes, I will be the executive director of the organization, but it's nothing that I've done alone. It's nothing that I could ever do alone. And I just always want to make sure that the people, the community get the credit, because unless the community wants it, it's not going to happen. And so far, I'm glad to say that the community has been super welcoming, from Mayor Fleta to Sheriff Brown, all the way down to the family treatment court judges and the probation offices. I've been able to work hand in hand with the Daily Reporting Center on helping facilitate some of the residents that are currently at Newton County Detention Center get connected to DRC and do some advocacy work with them for court. And so it's going to take a little bit of everybody from every piece of the corner of our community to really make this RCO thrive, like it says in our mission. You know, we can't do this alone. We need your support. If you're a person in recovery, please come out and support us. Yes, the raffle is important. Please support the raffle. However, just come and support. Find out how you can get involved. I'm always available by phone. You can reach out on social media. My number's on the raffle flyer.
We'll be posting them on all of our social networks, on even our personals. So y'all be looking out for this and help this dream come true. You know, this is going to benefit everyone.
Yes.
Every single person.
And also, we were speaking about allies earlier and a family disease. Where we've had a support person that's been with me since the listening session. She has showed up at every event that we've held. She's a member of Al-Anon. And so we're also looking forward to creating a space in the RCO for the families, right? Where they can have a group where they can heal and thrive, and maybe even be able to get some peer support. So when their loved ones are walking through it, they have somebody there to talk to walk alongside. Awesome. So we're looking forward to having like family support groups, youth support groups. So if you have children who are struggling, we want to create space for them too. If we have a group of people in our community that are Spanish speaking, we want to hold space for you too. This does not have to be something that is just a cookie cutter thing. We want this to be what our community needs. So if you have ideas, please let us know, because we want your ideas to become our reality.
Yeah, so be at these meetings. Yep. You said the next one is?
April 30th.
April 30th, 6 o'clock, Damascus Road.
That's it, Damascus
Road. All right, well, y'all make sure y'all show up and you have a say.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. You have a say in this.
Your voice matters.
That is awesome. I'm so glad that you got to come and
Yes, thank you ladies so much for having me out. I've enjoyed being here with y'all this evening.
Well, we love having you. Thank you for
coming.
I did.
And they are killer. Like,
I haven't tried one yet. I'm so trying not to, but they look so good, and she went out of her way, so. All right, so we want to thank everybody for joining us today again, and I'm going to give you all our helpline numbers. We have a just regular helpline, which is 1-800-662-HELP. That's 1-800-662-4357. FindTreatment.gov is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We got a Kratom line. That's 866-210-1303. Y'all know the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is 988. And my favorite, the CARES Warm Line. It's 1-844-326-5400. You can call 8:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. and talk to someone like we just said, and reach somebody that understands and has been there. And hopefully with more funding, they'll be able to do a 24-hour a day.
That's it. That's the hope. You know, I think there's a number that should be on there.
Which one?
I think that y'all might want to add Heart of Newton's number if they want to reach
Let's
out
do it.
for
Tell them what it is and we'll put it on here.
So yeah, you can reach out to Heart of Newton. The number is 470-205-9473. We are here to support you every day.
We're going to put that on there, y'all, so we'll have that as well.
Yes, most definitely. I am so excited about the event. It's going to be good to go out and see, hopefully, Newton County show up and show out. And I'm not going to hope on it. I know on it, because everybody knows someone.
That's it.
It's just a matter of coming out and supporting. So I solely support this. I cannot wait to see people out in June the 13th.
Yep. Kathy and I will be there too. Yep. So if y'all want to come by, we're going to have some kind of fun, something going on. We're going to figure something fun out. If y'all have any ideas that y'all want to see, y'all let us know. Y'all can PM us and let us know. But we're glad that y'all decided to come out. We're gonna say our little prayer and
All right.
Forgot almost. If no one tells you today that they love you, remember we do.
we do. We love you.
You
All
know.
right. God,
Grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
amen.
Thank y'all. We'll see y'all next
See
week.
you soon.
Let me pause it.